How long you think it was gonna take before we got here? Now you gotta prove yourself all over again. Come on.
Ain't nobody coming, I've been gunning from 100 yards, trying to hit my mark, missing every time. This will be the start of the picture perfect. Watch you.
Mr. Terry, good morning. How are you on this Money Monday?
Good. I'm good. How are you?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. You had a nice Saturday. You and Charles managed to hit that pick six, which was a good thing.
Actually, I hit it on my hot dog and my prime rib.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
That 4-horse that I've got it for you, I would have never taken that one in 100 years, and I won't take it again in 100 years, but it did get me. So beat my 7, which either way, we would have had it then. So we had the top 2 in that race. That's but right. I'm not I can't take horses coming out and made in special weights with low speed numbers, and just got a really good trip, I guess, right?
You did, yeah. I get really excited on that 7 in one of those races that was 17-1. It was the one we added at the end there, the one I kind of liked. Mm-hmm. He was like, I don't know, 100 yards from or 100 feet from the finish line. He was like in first, but of course he got passed by everybody else. So
got run down at the wire. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's the way it goes sometimes, right?
It is.
You have your good days and your bad days. Your good days have to outweigh your bad days, and that's the nature of horse racing.
It is.
Tonight, Sports Center, I got confused, returns at 8 p.m. Eastern with Sean and Julie. They're going to have a couple guests tonight, Roger Blanco and also the Barry Pearl. They're from the Jockeys Fund. So that's you see always on the pants, the PDJF on the pants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're from that. So if you're interested in knowing all about how you can help jockeys and the Jockeys Disability Fund, make sure you tune in for that at 8 p.m. Eastern. And the best way to do that, Terry, is to do what?
Yeah, you need to subscribe to YouTube and hit the little bell so that you're notified, and give us a likes and a thumbs up on there. Go to our social sites, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and go to the horse race, the number 2 day. Give us a like and a thumbs up at those places, and let everybody that you know about where to find us.
Indeed, we certainly appreciate that. Our goal is to get to 10,000 subscribers this year on YouTube. So kindly help us get that done by hitting the like button, subscribing, and telling your friends, as Terry mentioned. All right, my friend, you ready to do the card today at Parx?
I am.
Track is fast, so it looks like they have some nice weather. You are echoing a little bit, Terry. This one is, first one is 6 furlongs on the main track. 6 furlongs tends to favor horses that have a little bit of tactical speed, not necessarily all out speed, although 35% of the horses do manage to go wire to wire. The rail, so Denali Ray and 8 and out, tend to do a little bit better than horses 2 through 7. We like to do around here a little bit of what we call simulations, 1,000 simulations that we do for early speed and using speed figures to determine if we can find any value in any of the horses here, Terry. So based upon what you see so far, that's not what we want, is it?
No.
That's a little bit too small. This is what I wanted to do here. That's too big now. All right, anyway, while I figure out the size, Terry, you go ahead and kind of highlight what you see here.
Well, the 4, 2, and 7 have the most speed, but I think the 4 is going to get there to the quarter pole first. Might get a little competition from that too. Actually, it's the 3. I'm sorry, the 3 and the 3 and the 2, and the 3 should get there first. Mm-hmm. The overlays are the 3 and I'm sorry, I'm goofed up here again. It's
the 3 and the 5 are the 2 overlays.
Yeah,
the 3 and the 5. You see the 3 here.
That's right.
A little bit of, not really an overlay, but the 5 looks like your big overlay, and the 4 horse here.
And the 4, yeah. So there we go. And then as far as the comfort zones, it looks like to me like the 2 and the 7 have the most comfort zone there. The 6 comes in a little bit third or so.
So the comfort zone, we just look back at the horses' their most high quality races, and then see if indeed there is a correlation between what this pace looks like and the pace that the horses have seen and similar in some of their better efforts. And interestingly, I've been paying attention. A couple times we've seen some really big trifectas if you just take the 3 or 4 horses that have the best comfort zone. So many times they're not the betting favorites, but they end up being the horses that perform well. I moved the information over to here for our pace setup. And you can see here, got a little bit of adjustment to make because it is a little bit off on the side, but you can see the 3 horse, the 2 and the 7, most likely are the ones that have come up front. Then I did all the early pace stuff over here, Terry. So just looking at the most recent early pace, it does look like the 2 and the 3, based upon recency, have the most early pace in this race. If you're looking for the horse with the most late speed, well, that 5 horse Risen Change has a 10-point advantage over the next closest horse. That could be a big number that can make it difficult to overcome. And then finally, looking at the early pace and late pace, the 3 and the 5, those two, when you combine the early speed with the late speed, they, Terry, have a pretty good advantage over the rest of the field. So with all that said, how are you lining them up for race number 1?
Okay, well, I like that 3 horse Yellow Dress. She won her last race at Parx Racing, has a highest speed figure at today's distance. Her best start speed, fastest among today's starters, actually tied with another horse. And then number 1 is my second pick, switches to a high percentage winning trainer and switches to high percentage winning jockey. And then that 5 horse that you were talking about, Risen Change, she likes running second or third. So the shorter distance may help her to show improvement. Number 4 is my long shot, Advocate Harbor. She has the highest speed figure at today's distance. Her best start speed is fastest among today's starter. She's actually tied with the number 3 horse. And then I'm going to play a dollar daily double. I'm going to use the 1 and the 3 with the 2, 3, 5, and 6.
Charles, you bring up an interesting Parx today. I'm looking for E and EP types. Just a mental observation I've made over the past however long Terry and I have been doing this. It's for Parx particularly. It seems to me that Mondays, and then not so much on Tuesdays, but Monday's speed really tends to hold up more so than other days. And I also noticed that after when the track closed, if you remember, the track was closed for a while for some maintenance and repairs. When they reopened it, the track was really fast early on as well in terms of favoring the early speed. So I made a mental note of that. I've been paying attention to it. And on Mondays, for whatever reason, it just seems like speed holds up better. Maybe some of the maintenance that they do over the weekend between races makes the course a little bit harder, a little bit faster, favoring some of that speed horses early in the week. Just an observation. I'll be interested to see if that plays out again today. But it's something I've written down in my notebook. Number 3, Yellow Dress, does have indeed the top last race speed figure in this field. And when you look at the performance last time out, was better across the board with its pace numbers. And then it is getting a little bit of a weight break today, which could be beneficial. Advocate Harbor, that 4 horse is making our good friend Charles's favorite handicapping angle, the 3rd start off a layoff. And did manage to run faster fractions in its most recent effort. And that was at 7 furlongs compared to 6.5 furlongs in the previous start. So going longer but faster means doubly fast. Number 5, Risen Change, does have that very strong late pace advantage over the rest of the field. Probably not one that's going to win. I mean, it hasn't done so yet in 35 races at Parx, so maybe can upset that 0 today. But it is quintessential Tom horse. Win? Nah, but in the money with that late pace, you definitely got to consider it. And then lastly, the 7 horse, Tizita, making the 3rd start off the layoff. And it is, as Terry mentioned, one of the top of the comfort zone horses, and they've done very well. I'm going to do a pick 5. I'm going to single up that 3 in the first leg here. The 2, 4, 6. I'm going to single up the 1 in race number 3, and then the 1, 6 in race number 4, and then the 1, 5 in race number 5 for a hot dog pick 5 at Philadelphia to start the day. Going to move on to race number 2, Terry. We got a little bit of time before that first race kicks off at Parx, and then we'll go ahead and kind of talk about that race live as it happens. In race number 2, they're going to travel 1 mile and 70 yards. Make a note of this race today because there are a lot of races at 1 mile and 70 yards. So you can get a sense of what the bias might look like today. But so far at the track, the bias has favored tactical speed with 31% of the horses going gate to wire on the front. Do get a little bit of a rail bonus. So Sole Provider maybe outperforms those 20-1 odds. 2 through 7, those post positions play fair. 8 and out, you do get a little bit of a penalty, Terry. I don't think 8 and out comes into factor here. Let's go ahead and take a look at race number 2 in terms of the simulations and what we can garner from that information.
Well, the 7 and the 3 and the 1 have the most speed in here, it appears. Of course, you see French Burrow was scratched. But I think that 3 or 7 should reach the quarter pole first. Just depends on who gets the best break properly. As far as the overlays go, if you look here, this number 2 is supposed to be less than even money, and it comes in 2-1 on the morning line. That's about the only one I see. And then all but the number 3 have pretty good looking C zones.
Yeah, they all should get races that they feel comfortable with. Let's take a quick look again here at our pace scenarios for race number 2. You can see here, if we look at the early pace, let me slide this over here a little bit so we can see this over here. There we go. The early pace, more recent early pace, Dynamite, Duke, and Caddy's Uncle. Those two look like they're going to get the lead out, though Country Captain could keep them a little bit of company. When they're coming down the stretch, looks like King Swanborough does have the most late pace, and they're going to be joined by Louis Law, and there's a big gap after that to everybody else. So if speed doesn't hold up, could be a little bit of problem there. And then if we combine the early part and the late part of the race, the one that scratched out was going to be the best of that bunch. But you see the 5, the 2, and the 3, that trio has the best combination of early speed and late speed. Terry, maybe those 3 can be horses that factor in here. Who are your primary factors in this race?
Well, I like the number 6 horse, Country Captain. He won his last race at Parx Racing, has a high percentage winning trainer who wins 45% of the races when running a horse in a maiden race, and switches to high percentage winning jockey. Then number 5, King Swalsparrow. He was my second choice, won his last race easily by 12 lengths at Parx Racing, and switches to a high percentage winning jockey and trainer. Number 2 is my third pick, Louis Law, has the highest last speed rating, and his best start speeds fastest among today's starters. I like the 3 as my long shot, Dynamite. Duke has an early foot and used that running style to win his last race easily by 6+ lengths. I'm going to play a trifecta. I'm going to use the 2-5-6 with the 2-3-5-6 with the 2-3. Oh, I'm sorry. That's wrong. Let me get back over here. Okay, so 2-5-6 with the 5-6 with the 2-3-5-6-7.
Is everybody else's screen blurry? Michael Herbert is saying the screen is a little bit blurry. So if you see a blurry in there, let us know. I don't quite know how I would correct that, though, because it's just connected to my computer. And what I see is not blurry. Terry, is yours blurry?
No, it's not.
Okay. As for myself in race number 2, I like Country Captain as well, Terry, as my top selection in here. Did get a really big boost in performance in its first Parx race, winning that maiden claiming. Came in from Kentucky, so a little bit maybe a track downgrade. Trainer Mario Dominguez won 5 of the last 11 times following that maiden win, and I expect this horse should improve in his second start after spending more than a year in the barn. That 2 horse is that very strong overlay, as we saw in this simulator in there. Did run the top last race speed figure. Going to take a substantial drop in class here as well. According to Barry Meadows in the book Skeptical Handicapper, 3 consecutive speed figure increases in a row is an alpha angle, winning at 15% or more. My concern here is the distance for this guy. He's run out 10 times, but only a couple seconds in there. So maybe not the right spot to win, but finishing the money with that big class and drop. Number 3, Dynamite Duke is the third choice here. It was a tough call over the 5 horse, the 3 and the 5 for me. But when I compared the 1 mile and 70-yard races versus one another, it does look to me like the 3 is about a second faster, maybe a touch more than that. So in that case, I'll take the 3. And then the 5, I'm going to do a 50-cent trifecta, 2-6 with the 2-3-5. Excuse me, that should be the 6. 2-3-6 with the 2-3-5 and 6. So excuse me, let me correct this real quick. This should be 2, 3, and 6. I can't have my second choice in there. It's just a fat finger there, Terry, is what that is. Lord knows I have those fat fingers. All right. So anybody else's screen blurry? Screen's not blurry. Setting it clear up. So Charles says you have to change your resolution on your YouTube setting, Michael, so that it can clear up for you. So I'm not 100% sure how to do that, but I'm sure that Google will do it for here. DC Capper. And not blurry, good picture. Thank you, DC. Appreciate that input too. And Charles says typically lowering the resolution generally clears it up. Fantastic. Lead. Let's cash some races today. Let's go. I'm wholeheartedly in concurrent with you. Terry and Charles cashed some nice pick 6s on the weekend, and that big pick 6 at Gulfstream Park for the Florida Derby. We had a lot of winners across the board and all that stuff. So it was a good day overall. In the third race, they're going to travel again, as I mentioned, 1.70 miles. A lot of them today. At Tactical Speed is the way. About 30% go wire to wire. You kind of want to be more to the inside than the outside. Maybe Prince Marco gets a little bit of an extra giddy up and go being on that rail, Mr. Terry. In the third race, as we take a look at our way to the winner. Actually, I have all these different things in here now. I'm trying to remember what's where. Race number 3. Our simulations do show that there's a 1 and the 2 and the 5 are going to get out to a drag race at the beginning.
That's right. That's 1, 2, 5. Looks like they have most speed, but I think the 1 and the 2 are going to go head to head to get to the quarter pole first. And that 1's got a fairly nice overlay. It's supposed to be just over even money, and he's listed at 4-1 on the morning line. And then also, as far as the C zones go, you can see those 3 outside horses have the best C zone numbers.
And I can't tell you, I mean, how many I've looked, and at least once a day, there has been a C zone trifecta where the top 3 or 4 combined for the winning trifecta. And they oddly have paid a lot too. In race 3, let me slide this over here again so we can get it all up on here. In race 3, we're really not going to get all up on there, right? Why is this one so wide? All right. So if we look at the more recency bias on early pace, you're going to see that the 1 and the 2, they both have a 5-point advantage. So that's about a 1 length advantage over the 5. Spikles. I don't even want to pronounce that one. If I screw that one up, that can really come out wrong. And then as the late pace, when the race comes to a close, that 1 horse, along with the top early speed, has the top late speed. So that's that old, if you can't pass me, if you can't catch me, right, Terry? And then finally, let me just slide that over. That's a little too big. Here we go. And then the late pace, early pace combination, as you can probably imagine, that 1 horse, Prince Marco, is going to have a 9-point advantage over Maximus Aurelius in Windsor Gold. So you get the 10. Those are horses that you almost absolutely have to have in your picks somewhere along the line, Terry. And I'm pretty confident you have the 1 horse in your selections indeed.
Yeah, you should be confident. So I do. I have it as my top pick, Prince Marco. He won his last race at Parx Racing. The rail post is winning 22% clip, and his best start speed is fastest among today's starters, and they added Lasix today. Then number 4 is my second pick, Corky's Cause. Finished in the money in 4 out of 6 starts at Parx Racing, and he finished in the money in 4 out of 4 starts at today's distance, so the distance won't be a problem. Number 2 is my third pick, Windsor Gold. Ran second in his last race and has a high percentage winning trainer. I like the long shot number 5 horse. He has finished in the money in both career races, and he's won the last race. I'm going to play a dollar daily double. I'm going to use the 1 and 4 with a 1, 2, 5.
Lavino decided he wanted to make an appearance there. I like in the third race, the 1, Prince Marco does have that strong early pace, late pace advantage that we saw in the pace worksheet there. 1 is maiden race in its second try by 17 lengths. That's an ass whooping by every measure. Going to get first Lasix here with speed, a combination that I'm a big fan of. Windsor Gold at Parx 5 times out, a win, a couple of seconds, and a third. Likes the fast track, which we're going to see today, 2 times out with a win and a second. I think it's going to be close to the front all the way around the track, chasing Prince Marco. Number 4, Spikes. I have no idea. This one showed better in-race pace numbers all throughout the last effort. It's going to go long for the first time today, which is a 22% winning angle for trainer Guadalupe Picardio. And finally, that 4 horse, Corky's Cause. What's a tough call for me, Terry, over that 6 horse? Real tough call. But that 6 has been off for almost a year. And the 4 horse Corky Cause has really a couple nice workouts in between races. So I think maybe the 6 might be a little bit rusty, but if it's not, does absolutely have some back class and could upset this field. I'm going to do a trifecta. I think the 1 and the 2 are the best 2 horses in here. The 1, 2, 5 with the 1, 2, 4, 5, and the 6 horse. Let's take a look at how they're stacking up for race number 1, Terry. Looks like they're still kind of dancing around a little bit, but let's go back to our picks for race number 1. Terry's going to do a daily double with the 1 and the 3. Right now, that 3 horse, the top selection for both of us, Terry, is 1 to 1. The 1 horse, your second choice, mine not even in my picks there. That one is 7 to 2 as the as the second favorite. I wonder why I don't have him in there. That's interesting to me. But anyway, I think I scratched him out. The 4-horse is the second favorite at 4-1. Then we have the 5-horse at 6-1, the 7-horse at 9-1. Everything else there is above 10-1. There's not much left in that. They're circling around the back of the gate. Terry, what were your thoughts regarding the 1-horse that maybe I missed?
Well, on that 1-horse, if you take a look at that, he switches to high percentage winning trainer and to a high percentage winning jockey, which I think is a big plus for him. Mm-hmm. And then also, I like the fact that he ran only once here, but he was well placed, but he gave way at the end there at 7 furlongs. So, now he's cutting back to 6 furlongs. I think that just might help. He showed speed in the past. He's also showed that he could come from off the pace. So we'll just have to wait and see. He had a really good race, the race before the last one. So,
all right. So they're all pretty well. They're kind of looks like they're fighting a little bit with the 6-horse behind there. He's not cooperating. The jockey's off of that one. They're circling him, trying to get him to maybe settle down a little bit. But so far, no, they haven't loaded 1 horse yet. So I wonder if that means they're going to scratch somebody. Has the announcer, Jessica Paquette, said anything about scratching anybody? I have the volume off.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything either, but they haven't really moved any horse into the gates just yet. So, and it looked like they had planned on taking it in with the jockey off the 6-horse. I wonder if maybe something happened there. Let's see. Yeah, they're just still circling that one around. So he must be really upset today. Well, he went in, so it looks like they're going to start loading the horses. He went in without the jockey. So Sean Gilpin going to have to mount the 6-horse once they get him settled inside the gate. And is he in yet? It's tough to tell. He's still a fight and giving up a little bit of a fight there to go in. I think they feel like they got him in. I'm not sure. No, his ass end is not going in. He's just like 3/4 of the way in, not willing to go fully in, and they're giving him a little bit of a hard time. So it looks like the jockey's going to get up on them now. So 6-horse is in. Sean Gilpin, it looks like he's on the horse now. The 3-horse has moved down to 3-5. It is my single here in the pick 5. I also have a single in the 3rd race. We could have probably made it through race 4, Terry, as long as these horses, because it looks like the jockey's not on another horse too.
Yeah, we could have probably did that. So
yeah, I can't see through the tractor which horse that is that they don't have the jockey on as well, but they're circling that one around too and trying to get him to get into the gates. I would think that, I don't know. I would think, well, I guess I get it. If you have the 2 that don't want to load, the most reluctant to put them in first, but it seems to me I would put the ones that, well, because you don't want them sitting around in the gates forever either, right?
No, I think they do the ones that are difficult first. So they don't want, like you said, they don't want the ones to be in there that just stand. And plus, there can always be a lot of accidents because of that, just because they're in there for a long time. They get nervous.
Well, I would think that the anxious ones would be more nervous in there than the ones that load readily. Because they're all circling around back there. The only one that's in is the 6-horse. That was very difficult to get in. So I don't know what the hell's going on here. Yeah. Now the 6-horse, he don't want to go in. Now he's backed out again. I would not be surprised if they scratch this guy if he don't go in, right?
Yeah, they could do that. So I've seen him do it in the past.
He's 45-1. He's stubborn as hell. But he looks good though. Nice color. I like the way the horse looks. But he is no interest in racing today, folks. So if you got money on that 6-horse, that longest shot on the board, good luck.
He keeps going up higher in odds too.
Everyone's cashing out real quick, right?
He's almost 50-1 now.
They're going to see. Everyone sees that horse is putting up a fight. He's leaving his race behind the gate. So really I don't know what they're going to do here. It looks like they're going to scratch the 6, Terry. Absolutely. I kind of figured that might be the case because they're removing the 6 and they're replacing it with the 7. the number. So the 6 is scratched at 45-1. If you had that one, you don't have them now. So that means you're going to get, well, on the pick 4s and stuff, you might actually end up getting the other one, right? Race 1, they haven't run yet. They're about to try to run race 1, but the 6 was being obstinate. Didn't have any interest in getting into the gate. So get her ready, Eddie. Was not ready today. So Eddie's got to do a better job of getting her ready. Or a name change, Terry.
Yeah, that's right. It's going to affect the odds, especially on the favorite, I believe.
I don't know. It was 45-1. There's not going to be a whole lot of money there. I mean, a few $1,000 probably, right?
Yeah, you just never know.
No, and now they're circling around the 5. They're going to get the whole day off to a little bit of a slow start here. I don't think one horse is loaded yet, Terry. Or is it still not a horse in the gates? Well, it's definitely a muddled start to this Monday at Parx.
Yeah, we could have done 2 races by now.
Probably could have finished the whole card by now, Terry.
Yeah, you're right.
And my computer's deciding now it wants to play games too. It's circling. All right, so, yeah, I don't know. And now they're not even showing the horses anymore. They just gone straight to the odds board on the screen. So it's tough to say what's going on there. All right, still waiting for first race to get started. Terry, are they still showing the odds? I suppose we could set up race number 4.
Yeah, let's go ahead and set that up. So,
all right. So on the 4th race, and we'll come back to the first race here as soon as they start going live. But on the 4th race, they're going to travel 5.5 furlongs, Terry, at 5.5 furlongs. So this optional. Oh, now they're loading. So never mind. We'll come back to this. Thank you, Jessica Paquette. So the 1 is definitely in. Denali Ray is in at 7-2. It looks like the 2 horse is in. Gone Dreaming. That one is in as well. They're all starting to load pretty quickly now. I think they're all in but the 5 and the 7. And then they should be ready to race. Right now, the 3 horse is your prohibitive favorite. Let's pull up race number 1, Terry, again, what we have cooking here. So in race number 1, according to our speed simulator, that 2 horse and the 3 horse should battle it when the gates open. 5, it looks like right now, as through the early strides, you do have the 1 horse on the rail, challenged by the 3 horse, the one that we thought would have a shot to get the lead. The 2 horse kind of trailing a little bit. They're not interested in being a part of the early pace as much as maybe it may have in the past. So as they come through the beginning part of the race, you have the 1 horse, Denali Ray, on the lead with the 3 horse, Yellow Dresses to the outside. The 2 horses made its move up the rail as they go through the opening quarter in this 6 furlong race in 23 seconds, a little bit on the slowish side. The 3 horse, Yellow Dress, is pulled alongside the 1 horse, Denali Ray. The 2 horses kind of moved wide to the second lane, trying to make up a little ground. The 3 has run by the 1 horse. 2 horses trying to make up some ground. The 5 horse on the outside, with the head kind of cocked towards the rail, kind of looking around for other horses as they come through the turn there at 47-1. The 3 horse is on the lead. The 1 horse decided to go wide. This one looks like it's going to go 3, 1, and 4 to me, Terry, unless they can make up some ground on. Yeah, no, it's going to go 3, 1, maybe the 4, the 2. Those are all flattening out at the end. It's going to go 3, maybe the 5 horse, 3, 1, and 5. So you had the trifecta ice cold there, Terry.
Yeah, I should have played that, huh?
You should have. Yeah, the 3 horse went off at, well, the odds kind of actually went up at 4-5. So
yeah,
started off the pick 5 with the 3. So all right, here we go. Let's see what we can get for the rest of the day here. All right, now, so there you have the results. 3, 1, and 5. Have no idea what the payout's going to be just yet, but I'd imagine with the 3 and the 1 running 1, 2 as their co-favorites or the favorites, the trifecta. Oh, the 5 horses 11-1. I'm going to guess maybe $13, $14 for 50 cents, and that might be a little on the rich side. In race number 4, again, they're going to run 5.5 furlongs. 5.5 furlongs. You would think it would favor speed, but actually it's closer to 50-50. Horses have won from all over the track. When they do get to the front, 35% of the time they go wire to wire. You have a very strong inside 3 bias. 4 through 7 play under par. 8 and out, you indeed get a bonus, Mr. Terry. In race number 4, our speed and odds simulations do point to that 5-horse getting to the front and everybody giving chase.
Yeah, I think the 5 has the most speed, going to get there first to that quarter pole, but the 1 may have a little bit to say about that. And then as far as the overlays go, look at that overlay on the 2. It's supposed to be just over even money. He's listed at 5-1 in the morning line. The 3 is supposed to be, like one and a little over even money too. And he's listed at 3-1 in the morning line. As far as the C zones, the 4 and the 5 have the best C zone numbers there.
They do. Chalky Monday. Well, hopefully it doesn't end up that way, Charles. Again, I did notice, speed held up on Mondays, but I've written that down in my notebook. It does seem to fade. I've also noticed at Parx that speed tends to hold up earlier in the card and starts to get a little bit of a not such a strong bias as the card wears on. So 3 was the late pace as EP type. Yeah, it was a good horse in there for sure. Got to the front. Again, speed on Mondays has been holding up. Let's look at race number 4, Terry, in terms of what the pace setup looks like here. I don't know why first-time starter, we don't need that. Let's shorten this up a little bit, maybe shorten that up a little bit because we don't have any closers in there so that we can sort these. Maybe, all right, anyway. Early pace looks like the 6, Terry, does indeed is the E-type in here. If you're looking for the E-types, the 5, the 6, and the 1, you have a pretty competitive early pace race between the 5, the 6, and the 1. As far as the late pace is concerned, the 4-horse, Yo Nest Round Donkerin, whatever the heck that means. Do you have any idea what that means, Terry? No, all right, nor do I. And as far as our combination of early speed and late speed, the 1-horse, Steely Danza, and Bucks Are Moving, those 2 look like they have the best combination. So they should run the most complete races in this spot. Terry, who's your top choice?
Well, I like that number 1 horse, Steely Danza. He won his last race at Parx Race. The rail post is winning 20% of the time. And he has a jockey in the last 7 days that won 6 out of 12 starts, 1 second and 3/3. Has a bullet workout on March 28th. Marks a lot of boxes off. Number 2, Hometown Heroes, my second pick, ran second versus similar in his last race at Parx Racing and has a high percentage winning jockey and trainer. Number 5, Something You Do Causes Trouble. He's my third pick. He finished third versus similar in his last race. It should improve at the shorter distance. My long shot is Mr. JT, number 6. He won his last race at Parx Racing. Has a high percentage winning trainer. I'm going to play a pick 4. I'm going to use the 1, 2, 5, 6. And then the 5th race, a 1, 4, 5. Then with 3, 6. And then finish up with the 1, 4.
Mr. JT. Track dropped into Parx last time out, made its debut at Parx, and did it so smashingly, winning by 13 lengths. Seems to me this might be the right track for this horse because since that race, it put in a bullet workout. So maybe a budding horse for the course. Steely Danza, you got to like that last workout out of this horse. Terry ran 4 furlongs in 4 furlongs, and 47 and 2 in the mud. And this one does tend to run well when it comes off the bench fresh, just like today. I also like the 5-horse as my third selection in here. Causes Trouble. Indeed, something I used to do a lot more of than I do now. It's the old age. It kind of mellowed me out a little bit. It's an interesting move from me out of the trainer here, Harold Weiner, because last time he dropped the horse in class and it didn't win. And this time he's bumping him up multiple classes. And the horse was definitely faster in terms of fractions last time out and cutting back in distance. So maybe that's what he saw there. You do have a pretty strong chance to get to the lead, a pretty good chance to get a trip that he's comfortable with. And then the Bucks Moving was a tough call for me over Hometown Hero, that 2-horse. But I feel like the cutback in distance is more beneficial to Bucks Are Moving. I'm going to do a pick 4. I'm going to go with the 1 and the 6. I feel like they're the best 2 horses in this spot. The 159 in the next race. I'm going to sing. I'm not going to sing. I'm going to go 1, 6 and then 1, 4 at the back end of my pick 4. Off to race number El Número 5. In the 5th race at Parx today, they're going to run a 1 mile and 70 yards. As I mentioned, they're going to run quite a few of these today. So starting in the upcoming second race. At 1 mile and 70 yards, you do want to have tactical speed. It's the best way to find the winner circle. This claiming 7,500 non-winners of a one lifetime. 31% do manage to go wire to wire. We kind of almost saw that with the 3-horse. It intermittently took the lead there. You do get a rail bonus, so Private Network could benefit from that. 2 through 7 play fair, 8 and out. A little bit of a penalty in that respect. In the 5th race, Terry, we have it once again going to take a look at our the race shapes as well as the simulators. And in the simulators for race number 5, Terry, looks like the 1 and the 8 are the ones that are going to be blasting when the gates open.
Yeah, that's true. But I think the 1 is going to beat the 8 because he has the benefit of the rail. And if he can get out of that gate without any problems, I think he'll beat that 8 to the quarter pole. And then as far as the overlays go, the 2 nice overlays, supposed to be 7-2 on the simulated odds, and it's listed at 10-1. The 5 is supposed to be just over even money, and he's listed at 6-1 on the morning line. And then that 9-horse, nice overlay there too, is supposed to be around 9-2, and he's listed at 12-1 on the morning line. You can see that also has a really good Z-zone number, and the 4 and the 5 have pretty nice ones also.
Yeah, this is the first time we see today strong C-zone and an overlay, and that has worked out pretty well. I had a little bit of interesting stats shared with me regarding the simulator, the stuff that we're doing here. And interestingly, the information that was forwarded to me are the top simulator wins at a very, very high rate, Terry, in terms of, but a lot of times they're pretty low odds. And this is Parx specific. And then the second choice in that simulator has a really high ROI in terms of the simulated odds. So that's something to keep an eye on. Again, the top pick, particularly at low odds, hits at a really high rate. I mean, really high rate. Really limited data so far, but it's over 50%. And then as far as the ROI for the second choice, it's over 40%. So pretty positive stuff. As far as this race in race 5, our race shape, you do see that the 1-horse Private Network most recently has a very strong race advantage early on over everybody else, with the 6-horse scratching a 7-point advantage over a shot, and then 13 points after that. So that 1-horse absolutely should have its way, at least according to its recent efforts at the start of the race. So coming around the stretch to come home, the 9-horse does have the most late pace, followed up closely by the 2-horse. 5 horses in that mix. So you got a quartet of horses in there that should be moving very well at the end. Then finally, if we combine the early part of the race and the late part of the race, you will see here inequality. That 5-horse absolutely has the best combination with the 9 and the 2. And over here in our race shape, the 1 and the 6 are over there by themselves. That 6 being out, the 1 I think is a great beneficiary. Terry, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you there, but I actually decided to go with the 4-horse. He comes in from Aqueduct to try Parx Racing for the first time, drops in class today, and switches to high percentage winning trainer. And then I like the 5 Inequality as my second pick, ran second versus similar in his last race at Parx Racing, has a high percentage winning trainer jockey. That 1-horse who should get a really good trip, Private Network, has won her last race at Parx Racing. The rail post is winning at a 22% clip, and she has a trainer who wins 28% of the races with a horse whose last win was a claiming race. I like the 9 as my long shot, finished, has a high percentage winning trainer, and who in the last 14 days has been in the money 7 out of 9 starts with 3 wins, and she has a good workout on March 27th. And then no bets for me here.
The 1-horse Private Network does have that early race edge now. It does really benefit from that 6 being knocked out of this race. This horse, if you look through the past performances, gains confidence on the lead. I think it'll be on the lead here today, coming off the top last race speed figure as well. The 5-horse Inequality, 3 consecutive speed figure increases in a row. We talked about that being an alpha angle, according to Barry Meadows, winning at 15% or more. And in its last effort, put together some faster fractions. Like to see that. 9-horse Relishment, first off the claim for trainer Michael Pino, which is a 25% angle, winning 1 out of 4. Does have a decent workout, is running at the right distance. And again, that combination of strong C-zone and overlay. Then finally, the 4-horse Scotty. Track dropper, as you mentioned, Terry, coming in from the Naira circuit, was second in the only trip at the distance. The reason I downgraded him a little bit, because I'm a Usually a big fan of these 9 horses coming into Parx. The last couple of races have really been dull for that horse. So it's going to have a spark, and maybe moving down the turnpike, I-95 to Parx, Bensalem, Pennsylvania, is the difference for Scotty. I'm going to do a trifecta, 159 with the 1-5 with the 1, 2, 4, and 9, all for 50 cents. Race number 6 is next on our docket, Terry. In the 6th race at Parx, let's see how they're going to travel 1 mile and 70 yards again, because it's what they like to do there today. How about that? 1 mile and 70 yards at Parx again. Tactical speed. You got a little bit of inside bias. A good about 30% go wire to wire. You do kind of want to stay away from a horse with an 8 or out. Early speed-wise, Terry, it does look like the 4 and the 5, according to the simulator, should be the ones going quickly when the gates open.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. Although I think, well, actually, it looks like the 3 and the 4 should be going, with the 6 a little bit of a chance. But I think there's plenty of speed in the race, basically. If you look, they've all got a little bit of speed. And then as far as the overlays go, that 3 is a really nice overlay. It's supposed to be really beneath even money, and it's listed at 4-1 on Morning Line. And then the 5 and the 4 have the best C-zone percents.
Yeah, that 5 horse are real high. Should get a race it's extremely comfortable with. We'll take a look at the race shape again for the 6th race here at Parx. I see. I have to definitely work on this to make everything fit a little bit better, right? So that it's fits right here. Okay, good. So as far as the early speed is concerned in here, let's take a look. The 6 horse got about, it looks like it could be the fastest of the bunch, although it gets a PC rating, which means a horse has some versatility. It's 1 on the front, but it's not lead dependent, which is kind of what you want to see. Mutasalim, the 3 horse, going to be second in line there. As they come out of the turn and run down the stretch, the horse that should have the most giddy up and go down the lane is Mutasalim. Got a good 4-point advantage, though. Really, all have some good late pace. The one that's kind of an outlier there is Secret Alliance. Everybody else is pretty much within range. If you see which horse is going to run the most complete race, you can see the 3 and the 6 on top again. They grade out 9 points better than the next closest horse. Those 2 should definitely be competitive. Definitely should be ones that are involved at the end, Terry. You have them as your top 2 picks.
That's right. I think the 6 Bullet Butch is my top pick and finished in the money in 5 out of 6 career races, running second in his last race and has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. The number 3 horse, my second pick, he's finished in the money in the last 8 out of 9 races. So he's very competitive. He won one of those races and he has a high percentage winning jockey. Number 1 is my third pick. He ran second in his last race. The rail post is winning at a 22% clip, and he has a high percentage winning trainer. His best start speed is fastest among today's starters. The 4 Secret Alliance is my long shot, has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. I'm going to play a pick 5. I'm going to use those 2 top horses, the 3 and the 6, and then I'm going to go with the 1-4 and the 7th, and the 8th with the 1-4-8, the 9th 1-6, and then I'm going to finish up with the first 2 horses, the 1 and the 2 in the last leg.
I got that 6 horse up top too. Bullet Butch. Got to be careful there, Terry. You can get in trouble with that one. You got Frankie Pennington and Trayvon Robert Reed Jr. together 13 times. They've managed to win 7 of them. And the horse, Bullet Butch, did run better fractions last time out at 7 furlongs compared to 6 furlongs in the previous start. You could see even faster fractions today in the second start after a layoff, or second up, as they call it over in Europe. The 1 horse, Simovich, did run the top last race speed figure, a big number in its Parx debut. But what's interesting to note is the Frankie Pennington doesn't stay on this 1 horse and goes to the 6 instead. So maybe a vote of confidence from Frankie for Bullet Butch over Simovich. The 3 horse, Mutasalim, at Parx 11 times, a couple of wins, 4 seconds, 3/3. Did run similar fractions at 1 mile and 70 yards last time out, compared to 6.5 furlongs in the previous start. Number 2, Brindisi, at the distance 4 times, a couple of wins, a couple of seconds. Horse has been off since August. Been pretty good in the first up efforts, and I like the workouts and the pattern coming into this race, kind of reminding me a little bit of a horse making its debut. I'm going to do a pick 5, just like you, Terry, with the 1 and the 6. Going to single the 1 in the very next leg. The 1-4, the 1, 2, 3, and then the 2, 4, and 6 to bring it home in the last race. Before we get to the last race, however, we do got to cover race number 7, which is 7 furlongs. We're going to have back-to-back 7 furlong races here, Terry. 7 furlong, profile of a winner, tactical speed, so maybe second or third at the quarter-mile marker. Although if you are first, you got a strong chance to win. 38% of the time, they go wire to wire. Very strong inside 3 penalty. Anything outside of that gets a little bit dinged in terms of its win rates. Speed being a big factor here, winning almost 40% of the time. Terry, a couple of horses stand out as the best chance to get that done.
It looks like to me the 7, 4, and 3 have the best speed in here, but I really think the 7, 4 has the most speed. I think they'll be trying to get to that quarter pole first. As far as the overlays go, there's a nice overlay on that 1, and also there's an overlay on the 4, as the 4 is supposed to be just above 3.5, about 7 to 2. He's listed at 5 to 1. The 8 has the best overlay, he's supposed to be just under 3 to 1, and he's at 6 to 1 in the morning line. And as far as your C zones go, the 2 has the best C zone, or actually, no, the 8 does. Mm-hmm. So the 2 and the 8 have the good C zone, and the 4 kind of comes up behind them.
In the 7th spot here, we have got a bunch of here. I got to make a couple of adjustments to the way that works over there. The way I did it in terms of the pace setup, the 5 horse. So you take a look at the early speed here. Let's take a look at that run. It's a little bit fine tuning left over here for the race shape. But if you can see here, the early speed in this race belongs indeed to the 4 horse Boscara, 90% score relative to 87% score. But you got a lot of numbers here in the 80s and the 90s. So a little bit of a tick up for these guys down here, a little bit of tick down for these here. So that kind of tells me it's going to be a competitive race early on, Terry, which could make for challenging fractions. If there are challenging fractions, you're going to want the horses to have a little bit more late speed. Shirley Green and Touring Marianne have the best combination, best late speed. The Beauty's Tale, not all that far off of that group. And then as far as the combination in terms of coming home, you got a very competitive race here, Terry. All but the 2 and the 7 have very similar early pace, late pace numbers. Got a lot of speed in here. I think a horse that's sitting second or third probably going to get the best trip in here. I don't know who's actually going to win that race, Terry, but we both, for some reason, picked the 1.
That's right. I like the 1. Turing Marianne, she won her last 2 races in a row, so she's going for a hat trick. Has a trainer jockey combination the last 14 days, been in the money in 4 out of 5 starts with 2 wins. Number 4, my second pick, Boscara, has finished in the money in her last 4 races, winning 1 of the races and switches to high percentage winning trainer. Number 6, Shirley Green is my third pick, finished third versus Tougher in her last race and drops in class today. My long shots, Pearls and Heels, number 7, drops in class today, has a high percentage winning jockey. And I'm going to play a pick 4, 50 cent, 1-4 with the 1-4-8, with the 1-6, with the 1-2, and then I'm going to play a 50 cent pick 3. I'm going to use the 1 with the 1-8 and then the 6.
You have the 1 and 6 on the screen.
Yeah, that's right. The 1 and 6. I'm sorry.
So are we getting paid by the track? Tuna on toast? No,
I
wish.
wish.
We don't get paid by anybody. So that's there. Terry says you sound like a golf caddy, but he's an old man too. So I guess maybe he sounds like a golf caddy as well. Not quite sure what a golf caddy would sound like though.
I don't know. I guess it's you're the pro and I'm the guy that kind of hands you the clubs. But I was a caddy in my high school years. So.
I don't know. I didn't get the. That sounds like a. I mean, that you pieced that together better than I would have pieced that together, Terry. In terms of the structure, I had no idea. The 1 horse Touring Marianne did smoke the field last time out. Terry ran the top last race, Speed Vigor, and gets that high win rate rail and a little bit of overlay there. Boscara, that 4 horse, we both like the top 2 up front. Finished second behind the top pick last time out. Likely to be better in the second off the sidelines, although I don't know that it'll be enough to make up the difference. I was debating putting the 5 in front of the 1 because the 4 did get beat pretty handily last time. It is the 4. It is the first off the claim for trainer Michael Simone, which just happens to be my daughter's name. That's a 31% winning angle for Michael Simone claiming a horse and bring it out to the track next time around, which will be the second start after a layoff for the Beauty's Tale. And then closing it out with the 8 horse Classy Miss. does have that best combination of C-zone and that overlay, and I'm not going to leave those horses out anymore from my tickets. The 8 horses, you can see, 84% chance to get a trip it's comfortable with. Morning line odds should be closer to the actual post odds should be closer to 3-1 versus that 6-1 morning line. And the horse is actually dropping in class. I'm going to put a pick 4 together here. I'm going to single the 1 in this race. I'm going to single the 1 in the next race, Terry, with the 1, 2, 3, 6 in the third leg, and then close it out in race number 10 with the 2, the 4, and the 6. Mr. Caddy, Bones, right? That was Phil Mickelson's. Or was that? What was I forget the guy's name for Tiger Woods, the guy from Australia. Then they kind of got an argument with each other, right? And the guy wrote a book about Tiger. It wasn't all that flattering. I personally wouldn't have done that. But what do I know? He had to make the money, right? You got to make the money when you have a chance. And I guess that's the avenue you have. You take it. Race 8 is the back-to-back 7 furlongs, optional claiming 40,000, non-winners of 2 lifetime. The purse is 42 grand. Again, real just quick synopsis. Tactical speed at 7 furlongs, although you got almost a 40% chance to go wire to wire. And you're best if you're positioned on the inside 3. Our pace figures here, Terry, show that 1 horse, United Alliance on the rail, going to be smoking hot.
Yeah, it looks like they're, unless it has some kind of trouble like getting cut off or something, it should get to that quarter pole first. And also it has a really nice overlay. As you see, it's supposed to be less than even money, and it's listed 4-1. As far as the C zones, most of them have pretty good C zone numbers. So there we go.
Everybody ought to get a race that they feel comfortable running. That's the way that looks up to me. In the 8th race, as far as I really got to work on this year because the spacing is not as nice as I would like for it to be, Terry. Presentation, as they say, is everything. And I had to work on the presentation over here with this in terms of getting it right. We have a couple scratches here, which could make a difference in this race. Our early pace setup does indeed show that the 1 horse is going to have the early lead. Some that might have kept the company are not going to be in this particular spot. Although everybody has a pretty good number in here, so I think you'll be contentious up front, perhaps. As far as the late speed is concerned, the 1 horse also has the best late speed. So again, a case of you can't pass what you can't catch. Put it together from the beginning into the end. That 6 scratching is a significant boost for the 1's chances because the next closest horse is 12 points down. Again, from my experience doing this, which you can only get here, that EP-LP combination, when you get to 10 or above, that horse has to be in your picks. It doesn't always win, but high percentages fitting in the money. We both think in this case that 12-point advantage is enough to win.
Yeah, I think the scratches really helped a lot. Number 1's my first pick, United Alliance. She finished 3rd versus Tougher in her last race, drops in class today, and has a high percentage winning jockey and trainer. Number 8, Can't Complain, is something that I don't do. She won her last race at Parx Racing, has a high percentage winning jockey, and has a trainer jockey combination. As I said before, in the last 14 days, has won 2 out of 5 races with 2/3. Number 4, my 3rd pick, Gold Medal Anna. She ran 2nd versus Tougher in her last race, and she has a high percentage winning trainer who in the last 14 days has won 4 out of 5 races, a bit of the money in 4 out of 5 races, winning 2 of those. Number 7 is my long shot bet of the century. She won her last race at Parx Racing, has a high percentage winning trainer who wins 25% of the races in the 2nd race off of a layoff. And because I don't have much money left and I want to use it in the 9th, I didn't make any bets here.
So in this particular case, Mr. Latino over here, he likes the 6 horse in race number 2. We'll come back to race number 2 real quick. I'm going to blow through my picks real fast, and then we'll talk about race 2 as it transpires. 1 horse, United Alliance, as I mentioned, has that big race advantage over everybody else now that 6 to scratch. Should run a very complete race from beginning to end. Gold Medal Anna gets a 2nd shot. It is an overlay as well with a strong C-zone score. Something, again, that I like to see. I also like to see when it ran the top last race speed figure and dropping in class from a non-graded stakes race. Today going to shave off a little bit of weight from the jockey as well. Number 7, bet of the century, Terry, which is Terry's best bet every single day. At Parx, 2 times out with a win and a 2nd, 1-for-1 at the distance. And trainer Robert Moscow wins at 25% with his horses making their 2nd start after a layoff. Finally, 8, Can't Complain. First off the claim for trainer Michael Pino. We've seen a few of these today. Does win at a nice 25%. at Park, 6 times out, a win, a couple seconds in the third. So in the money heavily. Did show much improved pace numbers through the first half mile last out. Again, Craig Mikowski from Timeform let us know that when you pay attention to those early pace numbers, Terry, particularly that first half of the race, it's a good indication of a horse that's getting better form. Mr. Latino does like the 6 horse here in race number 2. Terry and I like the 6 horse in race number 2. The race is off in number 2, and the 1 horse is definitely one that's competing for the lead along with the 7. So as we projected, the 1 and the 7 would be your 2 likely pace setters. You do have the 3 down on the rail there, Lose Law, with the 5, King Swanborough to the outside. Trailing them is the 6 horse. So it looks like the 6 horse has moved into third. Way back is the 2 horse, Lose Law. Is that the 2 horse? I can't really see back there, maybe. As they go through the opening quarter, and my screen's blurry, or just my eyes are blurry, Terry. They go through the opening quarter in 23-2, probably a bit on the quick side for 1 mile and 70 yards with Soul Survivor at 35-1. The 7 horse tracking to its outside, Caddy's Uncle. And they go through the opening half in 47-4. So they slowed it down a touch. Let's see if speed holds here. Now, the 2 horse is making a significant move off the rail. Says, I've had enough of this. Here he comes. He's moving wide, moving with a lot of stride. But the 1 horse still looks like it has plenty of horse left. 3 horse looks like it wants to get involved. The 6 horse is not going to be there at the end. He's absolutely holding back at the end here. The question is, can the 7 be run down by the 2? They're both kind of lugging a little bit down the stretch here. So we'll see if the 2 going wide does look like it's moving a little bit better than the 1 horse is. The jockey's trying to get the 1 to switch leads. Hasn't done so successfully yet. A little bit of the right-handed whip to encourage him a little more. But it looks like at the end of the race here, Terry, the 2 horse is going to clip him at the end. It's going to, maybe not. That 7 horse is getting a little bit of extra energy here. Second wind, head bob, 2-7. And then a long wait until it looks like the 1 horse comes trickling in there. So 2-7 and 1. So the trifecta is alive, Terry. That's good to see. I think you probably hit your double there. You did hit the double. My pick 5 is alive too. So we move on. I got a single in that next race with the 1. So far, so good, my friend. Didn't get my trifecta there because that 7 horse, I did have him in the 3rd spot, but not in the 2nd spot. You ready to go on to race number 9? I wonder whether the 6 horse just puked right there. I just didn't want to run today, I guess. Something about the 6s today. In the first race, it didn't want to run. And in that race, it didn't run. Off to race number 9. The last 2 races on the card. 6.5 furlongs optional claiming $35,000. Non-winners of 2. Again, it's Monday, and we've seen speed held up in the first 2 races, Terry. Well, 2 horse kind of came from off the pace, but it was still forwardly placed there. And the 1 horse, which was on the lead, he put up a good fight to the end. 6.5 furlongs is another race that should favor speed. In fact, 38% of the time the horses go wire to wire. This optional claiming $35,000. Non-winners of 2 lifetime has a purse of $56,000. You do get a small inside 3 bonus, Terry. 4 through 7 play under par. 8 and out, they pop up in value again. In the 9th race, Mr. Terry, it looks like the 3 horse, Flashing Diamond, is the fastest of them all.
It sure does. I think that 3 has got, lots of speed. And it looks like to me that it'll get to that quarter pole. And then as far as the overlays go, the 1's supposed to be 3-1 simulated odds, and it's listed at 9-2 on the morning line. And the 2 is supposed to be a little bit less than even money and listed at 4-1. And then most of these horses have pretty darn good C-zone numbers. So,
fine. Let's take a look at the race shape for race number 9. It looks here like again, I'm going to have to work on this. I apologize, folks, so we can see. I have in the first race here, in race number 9, as far as the early pace from the recency bias, Flashing Diamond, as we saw in the simulator, does have a 7-point favored over the early edition horse, the number 2 horse. Which is a little bit faster than the 1 horse, and then Peyton Elizabeth. And then there's a pretty good drop off after that. So that front 4 right there should be the combination that leads them when the gates open. When they're coming home, Lan Frankenfile. Is that one scratched, Terry, or no? I don't think so. Does have the best late pace in the field. All the horses in here, though, have a little bit of late pace to them. The 3 horse maybe fade off a little bit there at the end. If you put together the beginning and the middle of the race, it looks like the 1 and the 2, they all have pretty similar numbers except for the 7 and the 5. So I think your winners are probably going to come from the 1, 2, 4, 3, and 6. Terry, who do you think is going to win this one?
All right. Well, this is for me, it's the number 6, and it's my pick of the day, race of the day. I like the 6. Peyton Elizabeth likes Park Racing, finishing the money in 86% of the races and winning 40% of the starts here. He likes the distance, winning only started today's distance, and I like the number 1 as my second choice. Has won 2 out of the last 3 races, winning the last race easily, has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. Number 2, early edition, likes Parx Racing, finishing the money in 4 out of 6 starts, and has 1 win out of 2 starts at today's distance. I like the 4 as my long shot. She comes in from Penn National after finishing in the money in 9 out of her last 10 starts, winning 2 of those. And I'm going to bet 10 to win on the number 6, and then an exacta. I'm going to put the 6 on top with the 1, 2, 4.
I'm going to go with that 3-horse Flashing Diamond. Does have that early speed, and maybe the speed will continue to hold up as the card goes on. Usually makes a really strong mid-move. So I think when you look at the mid-move numbers too, they're much better than everybody else's. So should have a pretty good lead at the quarter-mile marker. Probably going to look to extend that lead through the half-mile. And then let's see if it can hold on at the end, because the late pace numbers need to show a little bit of improvement here. The 2-horse early edition, this one should be in its peak form in the 3rd start off a layoff. At least that's the hope there. Did show some very strong late pace gains in its most recent form. And again, we saw that it could be a part of the early pace. Castilleja, the 1-horse, did run the top last race speed figure at the distance where they're running today, 6.5 furlongs. Won both of the races at 6.5 furlongs. And when you look through the past performances, they're also the best 2 performances for Castilleja. And then finally, your 6-horse, Peyton Elizabeth, at Parx, 15 times out with 6 wins. Clearly a horse for the course, because they ran that horse 9 times at other tracks, only managed to win 1 time. It's a very consistent performer, has a really high floor, low ceiling. So you're going to get what you're going to get from this horse. They're going to have to beat it because it will put in a consistent effort. Just don't know that it has that extra pop if somebody puts in a really good effort here today. I'm going to go to try with the 1, 2, and 3, over to 2, 3, over to 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7, which brings us to the final race of the day, Mr. Terry. That is race number 10. And the 10th race at Parx is at 1 mile and 70 yards. What else, right? They run so many of them at 1 mile and 70 yards today. 1 mile and 70 yards does favor tactical speed, but early speed can still win 3 out of 10 races. There's a little bit of a rail bonus. 2 through 7 play fair. 8 and out, there is a bit of a penalty. Again, speed can play a factor in here, and it's all on the inside. Are you on mute?
Oops. Yeah, I got to unmute myself there. Yeah. There's a lot of speed in this race, as you can see. This 3, 1, 2, and 9 all show pretty much a lot of speed here. So I'm just not sure who's going to get to that quarter pole first. I guess it's whoever gets the best break. If you look at the overlay, the 2 is supposed to be less than even money, and it's setting at about 7-2 on the morning line. And then as far as the C zones, they all have pretty nice C zones, except for maybe the 3 and the 5. So.
And the final time, we'll take a look at what the race shape looks like for the 10th race. Again, I'm sorry, folks. I'm moving this on the fly. Tomorrow, I'll try to figure out how to make it look a little bit better early on so we can get it up. The early pace numbers do belong, at least recently, to the 1-horse. Rondon Scorsese, Ruby Blue, should be right on its heels. There's plenty of competition from all of these horses. Only a 12 points separating the front to the back. Probably going to be a really contentious race early on. Can maybe see a little bit faster fractions as they're coming home. Alivare has the best late pace numbers, not too far behind Vasaranio, and then Nautilus. That trio has the most late legs. And in terms of who are likely to run the most complete race, you do have a trio that stand above the rest here. Alivare, a Ruby Blue, and Varsirano. That combination there has a pretty good advantage from the beginning to the end over the rest of the field. I like to look at these combinations numbers because a lot of times the horse with the top EP, LP, they might not win all the time, but they're always usually pretty competitive, Terry. I do have the top horse in my pick. We kind of differ a little bit here. I don't have the one at all. You have it as your top pick. So maybe an open race. What do you say?
Yeah, it is pretty open. And if I had had more budget, I would have went a lot farther as far as my last leg in my pick 4 and pick 5. But anyway, Rondon Sorkisi, number 1, is my first pick. Ran second versus similar in his last race, Parx Racing. The rail post is 22% clip winning, and he has a high percentage winning trainer. Number 2, Ruby Blue, is my second pick. He is one of the 2 veterans in this race, finishing in the money 67% of his races, winning 27% of the races. And he's did that out of 73 career starts. He's a 9-year-old, so he's probably getting a little long in the tooth, but we'll have to see how he does. He likes the distance. He finished 70% of the races in the money, and he's won 21% of those races out of 47 starts. And then number 4, Nautilus, is my third pick. He finished third versus similar in his last race, has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey, and the trainer-jockey combination in the last 14 days has finished in the money 15 out of 16 starts and won 9 of those. So they're really on fire. And then number 3, Jack LaRose, is my long shot. He won his last race at the fairgrounds, switches to high percentage winning jockey, and has a bullet workout on March 26th. You know, I ran out of funds, so I couldn't make any bets on this race whatsoever.
And the reason you ran out of funds is because we have a $100 budget that we have to make through the entire card and all of our different suggested wagers. I'm going to start with the Ruby Blue, that old man. Maybe he's caddy-esque, but did run the top last race speed figure, dropping in class. And according to the simulator, he should be about 4 to 5 versus the 7 to 2 morning line odds. So he might be old, but he's still getting the job done. Number 4, Nautilus, the second selection in the last leg, is making its start at the right distance for that horse. Run it 6 times, a couple of wins, a couple of seconds, and a third. And of course, you can never overlook Jamie Ness and Ruben Silvera. I was almost going to flip their names around, and my brain caught me. Number 6, Alivari, has never run this low before. This is the lowest level that the 6 has ever run at. First time in the claiming ranks. And the resume says the horse should improve in its second start after a layoff. And then finally, Vassariano. Last race was better than it looks on paper because the fractions were actually faster at 1 mile and 70 yards, just like today. To be honest, it was a very slim selection over your top horse, Rondon Scorsese. Trifecta to close out the 10th race for me, 2, 4, and 6. Over to 2, 4. Over the 1, 2, 4, 6, and 7. Let's take a look at our entirety of our picks today, Terry, at Parx. Here you can see them all. Any final thoughts from you, Terry, before we roll up and out of here today?
Well, I just want to say that if you like what you see, like Tuna on the Toast, I think liked, you should go to Twitter and subscribe, hit the little bell so you're notified for all of our stuff.
We old men got to stick together.
That's right. Old men do, yeah. And give us likes and thumbs up. Go to our social sites and go ahead and give us a thumbs up and a likes on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of them, whatever else.
All of them, yes. Yeah. There's so many of them there. TikTok at the horse race, the number 2 day. I hope everybody is doing okay with the storms that have been going across the Midwest. I'm actually going to be there in a couple of weeks, and I'm hoping that it's not going to be too bad while I'm there.
So I don't really think Arkansas is the Midwest.
Well, Little Rock had some.
They had some definitely bad weather there. Yeah, there's a great video there, but well, not for the people who live there, but someone who made a nice video of that weird-looking tornado.
Wow.
What might not be weird today is our picks at Will Rogers. You can go over and collect those at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. There is a link down in the description down there below. You can see Will Rogers, race number 1, that 4-horse. Yeah, Pick a Floor is the favorite of ours to win that race. It's 7 to 5, but maybe back it up with the 1-horse at 8 to 1, Miss Morena. There is a link in the description below. Tonight, of course, is the NCAA Championship. You can do a couple of different things. You can head over to the Picks with the Professor. There's a link in that description down below. And our good friend Charles has a pick for us too. I think, let me look and see here real quick what he has. I'll tell you. He says that UConn will beat San Diego State 65 to 62. UConn is a 7-point favorite. So I'd say based upon that, you should take San Diego State. And the total there, he's got 127 versus 135. So he's going San Diego State and the under. That's what it looks like for Charles. And when you win all that money on Charles's picks or the picks with the professor's picks or with Terry's great selections, then what you might want to do is hit up the link in the description below for winning touches. Get yourself some great horse racing memorabilia gifts for the horse racing lover in your family. And even if that means you treat yourself. All right, Terry, tonight again, make sure at 8 o'clock you join Julie and Sean for another fantastic horse center. That'll be on at 8 p.m. Best way to make sure you don't miss anything we do, as Terry said, hit the subscribe button, tell your friends about it so we can get to 10,000 subscribers in 2023. And then no matter what else it is you do on this day, until we get back together again with Terry and I for Parx for tomorrow, same time, we hope that you do indeed have God's grace and that every single thing that you do ends up in
the winner's circle.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow at Parx again. Have a fantastic Money Monday.